evening, everyone. I am Irene Ibangay. We are the group 1. We are here to discuss about the concept of a hero. So at the end of this lesson, you our classmates should know number 1, how to trace the Filipino concept of hero or bayani through times. Number 2, analyze the criteria set by the nation in recognizing heroes. And number 3, assess the heroism of Rizal using the definitions and criteria of heroes. And now let's proceed to the lesson introduction. People tend to misconstrue the title hero as an award given to dead people. Doing great things is likewise misinterpreted as something only heroes, like Rizal, can achieve, wars as the popular Filipino adage. Mahirap magpakabayani, ang bayani ay binaril sa lunita. Implies people become individualistic, devoid of care for others. Such views unfortunately hinder their sights on the various possibilities they can do for the country. This lesson treats the concept of hero in the Filipino culture and history to assess whether its traditional sense is confined only to the likes of Rizal, on one hand, or maybe applied to normal people, like the millennials on the other hand. So, yun, marami mga tao na iba-iba yung mga pagkakaalam ng salitang hero. So, yung iba, for example, sa literary works of yung salitang hero, is para bagang may tao na malakas ang mga kapangyarihan. Ganon, may iba-ibang konsepto tayong nalalaman. Pag sinabi nating hero, so mayroon ding kabutihan or makatulong sa ating bayan. Pero example, marami kang natutulong dito sa ating bayan, pero yung ibang tao parang hindi nila i-credit yung mga ginawa mo, at pagpatay ka na, doon pa nila malalaman kung yung kahalagahan ng ginawa mo, yun, which is yun, doon pa tayo tinatawag na bayani.
Concept of hero in Filipino culture and history. Hero is normally defined here as an illustrious man, often of divine descent, or with distinguished valor, or enduring prize in danger, and fortitude in suffering, who is supposed to be exalted after death. So the definitions came from the dictionaries and other sources. When we talk about hero, so we Filipino have a different term for that. So we have bayani, magani, or wani. They were more like a normal warrior in a certain community. Their task is to secure needs of people, so like foods and etc. Example of this is pangangayaw, or raiding into an allied territory. So according to William Henry Scott, pangangayaw was done because of 4 reasons. So first, to secure resources, ranging from the occasional use, goods, or bounty to human slaves. This means to protect the current resources that they have in order to survive. So the second is to avenge a personal affront or family honor. So to make a revenge when someone in our family is being harmed or hurt by other people. Third is to fulfill warning requirements to which the life of enemies must be sacrificed. This is thinking about the enemy's life and seeking the protections of people. The last is for personal prominence or a mercenary reward. So, doing the pangangayaw in order to be remarkable or to make money from it. So, the bayani does not work alone. So, he or she always exerts efforts together with his or her comrades, so, in the community. So, the bayani, the root word is bayan, which means that community, a town or nation. So, when pangangayaw is done, the group of bayani returns home. So, according to Zul Salazar, he said that the bayani is a person who leaves his or her town and then returns. So, the bayani uses a tattoo. So, they make for protections of soul, a bayani. His tampilan or weapon, his putong or headgear, and other garments colored red are his iconic physical features. The characteristics of early Filipino heroes are worth emulating. So, the Boxer Codex. So, according to this document, Hicks defined Bayani as a person with a high status and dignity. And according to Pedro Serrano Lactao, he elaborates the personality of a Bayani. So, a person who fears no one, courageous, firm, bold but quiet and calm. So, the qualities of the main characters of the Philippines epics like Lamang, Labaw Dunggon, Tuwaang, and etc. So, on the other hand, it represents the actual Bayani because Lamang, Labaw Dunggon, and Tuwaang, they can show the courage and intelligence. All these qualities are clearly represented in a living human. So, the changes occurred when the Spaniards conquered the Philippines. Instead of leaving role models, had introduced the image of obedience of saints and disciples, whom the Filipinos had to imitate in order to become a good colonial. So, on the other hand, the culture of the Philippines changed when Spaniards seized the basis of being a hero, it's being brave. So, the Spaniard gave the image or obedience to the saints or disciples, where the Filipino had to follow to become a good colonial. Vida Sanctae, or the lives of dead saints, become the foundations of good qualities in life. And Doctrina Christiana, or prayer and doctrine books, became a textbook of faith. So, the Americans propagated a secular view on heroes. Hero worshipping of American soldiers who died during the Philippine-American War, then dubbed as Philippine Insurrection. Like General Henry Lawson, he was the highest-ranking U.S. military officer to be killed in action in the Philippine-American War. Colonel John Millard Stutzenberg was the captain of the 6th U.S. Cavalry and a colonel of the Nebraska Volunteers. He was killed in the Philippine-American War while leading his regiment in action near Kingwa. So, Colonel Harry Clay Egbert was an officer in the United States Army who served in the American Civil War, the Spanish-American War, and the Philippine-American War. General Henry Lawson, Colonel John Miller Stutzenberg, and Colonel Henry Clay Egbert was promoted through monuments and annual commemoration. It was to justify the need for American suffrage in the Philippines. Filipino heroes were also venerated during this period. As Rizal was executed, the Spaniards became the leading national hero. Mabini, Luna, and Del Pilar also became household names. The problem to the new approach was that it coincides with the thrust of the Americans to instill in the minds of Filipinos the American culture. So this was done through the study of American heroes and past presidents like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Benjamin Franklin. The Overseas Filipino Workers, or OFW, are considered a bagong bayani or new heroes because their work abroad is said to be a continuation of the culture of the pangangayab. So, the word na mayani means to prevail or triumph, become well known. So, the concept of the Filipino bayani is embedded in the blueprint of Filipino well-being.
A hero is a social construct. Since that is the nature of the process, recognizing heroes is always subjective. To bridge the gap, the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, NHCP, released some of the criteria for recognizing heroes through their Project Saysay. And here are the criteria. The first one is the extent of a person's sacrifices for the welfare of the country. Means in order to become a hero, you should risk or sacrifices your life to do good things or even smaller things for the good of others. Second is the motive and methods employed in the attainment of ideals. So most of all methods of attainment should be morally sound. So meaning his ideals solely for the good of the country and without any taint of interested motives. The third one is the moral character of the person concerned. So the person should not have any immorality issue that affected his ideal. The fourth is the influence of the person concerned on his age or the succeeding age. So the person should concern about his or her age on what should he or she will do on his ideal. Fifth is that heroes are those who have a concept of nation and thereafter aspire and struggle for the nation's freedom. So they must have wanted the freedom of the country in any situation, especially when there is a threat of invasion of any form. The sixth one is that heroes are those who define and contribute to a system of life of freedom and order of the nation. So the ones who help in the orderliness and betterment of the country. The seventh is heroes are those who contribute the quality of life and destiny of the nation. So the person should have a contribution to a country such as things that he or she achieved in doing good things for the welfare of the country. The eighth is a hero is part of the people's expression, meaning the person must have remembered and accepted individuals as a hero. Ninth is a hero thinks of the future, especially the future generations. So his concerns for the future generation must be seen in his decisions and ideals. And lastly, the choice of a hero involves not only the recounting of an episode or event in history, but the entire process that made this particular person a hero. So, becoming a hero should not be based on an episode or event in the country, but it should be based on the entire process, such as the overall things that he or she have done.
Rizal as Filipino hero. Rizal as a Filipino hero is state-sponsored through the Republic Act 1425 Rizal Law. Why it's had a law? Because of his heroism. The first commemoration was held on December 30, 1898. Then, the first president of Philippine Republic, Emilio Aguinaldo, he declared in Malolos, Bulacan a day of national mourning for various provinces like Tayabas and Batangas. And then, the American realizing the possibilities of Rizal cult in their colonial agenda, because Rizal it is a national hero of the Philippines. Among the choices they had, there are three criteria were used in this selection. However, there was no actual law during the American regime. They explicitly declared Rizal the official hero of the country. Three steps instead were made by the American colonial government to promote his heroism. First, the creation of Rizal Province. Second, erection of Rizal Monument. Third, the declaration of Rizal Day on December 30 as Republic holiday. This was heightened when in 1956, the Rizal Law concept, sense book, textbook, and modules were necessary for educational purpose. Then, aforementioned less is not yet approved. The website of the National Commission on the Culture and Arts states that This might trigger a flood of requests for proclamation and might trigger bitter debates involving historical controversies about the heroes. Various laws honoring, commemorating Filipino historical figures were instead passed into law. And there are four major national celebrations with Rizal as an important subject. In June 12, Independence Day. June 19, birthday anniversary, last week of August, National Heroes Week. And December 30, Rizal Day. First, a hero who is not violent and militant, like education. Second, a hero had no qualms on American imperialism. And third, a hero who is already dead. It is obvious here that Del Pilar, Mabini, Bonifacio, and Aguinaldo were not to be qualified as heroes because it's a no-brainer that the American would pick Rizal ahead of others. However, there was no actual law during the American regime that explicitly declared Rizal the official hero of the country. 3 steps. Instead, in 1995, amidst the preparation of the national for the upcoming centennial celebration of Philippines Revolution and Philippine Independence Day, the National Heroes Committee, celebrated by President Fidel V. Ramos, released a list of recommended national heroes. First, Jose Rizal. Second, Andres Bonifacio. Third, Emilio Aguinaldo. Fourth, Apolinario Mabini. 5, Marcelo H. Del Pilar. 6, Sultan Di Palatuan Codarat. 7, Juan Luna. And 8, Melchora Aquino. And 9, Gabriela Silang. According to my research, Jose Rizal, as a hero, is the most revered figure in the Philippine history. He was a multi-faced intellectual and a political activist, best known for his political writings that inspired the Philippine Revolution and ultimately led to his execution by the Spanish colonizer. Rizal was also a physician who trained in ophthalmology under two prominent European ophthalmologists, Louis de Welker and Otto Baker. Most of his writings, both in his essays and editorials, centered on individual rights and freedom, especially for the Filipino people. As part of his performance, he even called for the inclusion of Philippines to become a province of Spain.